We're here at the Breakfast Roundtable with Dr. Caroline Harper. Today we're going to be discussing issues around people with disabilities and how they can be properly included in the workplace. And this is holding right here in Access Bank.
It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this meeting. And we've all welcomed, I didn't want to be the only one to welcome her, so thank you all for joining me in welcoming her to Nigeria. Thank you. First and foremost, I would like to thank you for the commitment of Sightsavers to ensuring disability inclusion, especially across Africa. We appreciate the work that your company has been doing over the last 70 years, right, since Sightsavers was established.
Thank you so very much. What I want to talk about more today is the side of our work that's linked to disability. So as you saw in the film, Sightsavers does eye health work, so preventing blindness, treating blindness, and also educating people about those issues. But we also work very closely with organizations of persons with disability, and now increasingly the private sector, to look at how can we ensure people with disabilities can fight for their rights.
So I think what we all need to do is to say, can we work together, right, to support, a disability network so that we also amplify their needs, right, such that we can then go into organizations to create opportunities first and foremost, because I think that's how it will work as a movement.
How do you become a champion? Also thinking around your supply chain. That is critical for, particularly when we look at those who are in the rural areas. If we need to do this, everybody keep asking how. How do we partner? How do we co-invest our resources? It might not necessarily be in cash, but it could be in kind. And when it is in cash, can we co-invest some parts of that? So we can reach a large number of people with disabilities. But if I could ask, do you pay people because of their ability? I can have ability to work, ability to run. But until I change that ability to productivity, right? When I'm productive with it, then you would pay me. I would pay you. Then it is beneficial to both what? Parties.
In terms of inclusion, when it comes to disability, and does that mean that when we're recruiting, we now have to state that, or how do we now sort of put that in our recruitment policies, or with the HR companies or the recruitment agencies that we're working with?
Interesting that you referred to women, because it feels to me like disability is at the sort of state where gender was, years back. And I would, see men standing up saying, well, but we want the best person, and women are not necessarily the best person because of this, that, and the other. We do definitely want the best people. And the point, I think, is that people with disabilities can actually be the best people sometimes. But there are some barriers that they have in the same way that we as women face barriers. And what we need to do is try and remove those barriers so that both people with disabilities can access work. And so I think we probably do need to think about working with some of those recruitment agencies too, about helping them find those people with disabilities in the same way that we work with the people with disabilities to make sure that they have the skills that you guys need to go along with the innate talents that they have.
I would say it actually exceeds my expectation, because I've never been to an event that ties or talk about disability inclusion before in Nigeria. So this is actually an eye-opener for me, and it's the first of many more events I think I will attend in such.
We're glad Sightsavers is leading this conversation, but we're even happier that Access Bank and other private sectors are joining the leadership of this conversation. And I'm excited, because in the last couple of years that we've had this disability bill, it's almost like nothing is happening. But in the last 1 year, especially since the Nigeria Business and Disability Network has been founded and led by Access Bank, the conversation has changed, because we now have an organization that is actively driving that conversation.
One of the things that is a take-home for me is, number one, we need to be more inclusive. In fact, even while I was sitting here, I was already thinking of ways that we can sort of project that to our community of business and professional women, so that we begin to see how each of us in our various organizations can sort of, embrace inclusion in that regard.
It's been fabulous working with Access Bank. One of them is chairing the whole disability network for businesses. And what they can do is be ambassadors, showing how people with disabilities can be integrated into work and become really valuable employees. And they've been a tremendous ambassador for that.